not going to let the big man beat him. 8th pitch coming.
High and deep and gone.
And the big man beat him.
Yeah, he did. The big man beat him not once, but twice. In fact, that was Aaron Judge last night hitting his 3-run homer to give the Yankees the lead. And they would ultimately win the game. He'd hit another later on. That was Krukenkaip, of course, on NBC Sports Bay Area, talking about Jordan Hicks not going to give in to Aaron Judge. As we welcome you into Saturdays on the Game, Marc, Grandi, Evan Giddings with you here on 95.7 The Game. It was the Aaron Judge show at Oracle Park. His first game, Evan, in his career at Oracle Park. The team that he grew up rooting for, playing against them in San Francisco for the first time, and he hits not 1, but 2 home runs, and he made Krukenkaip kind of eat their words there a little bit with that first 3-run shot.
Yeah, classic broadcaster's jinx, in my opinion. You don't poke the big fella unless you absolutely need to. And look, it was a heck of an at-bat, especially the first one. Hicks just got caught with a cement mixer, and Judge made him pay, but that's why you give a guy 9 years and $360 million, like for those kinds of games, for those kinds of moments. And honestly, for those kind of months of May, what Aaron Judge has been doing to baseball the last 31 days has been absolutely ridiculous. And so I got to say, I'm just glad it's June. I'm just glad that it's June 1st and the Giants are finally going to play this guy and be able to pitch to this guy outside of a month because hopefully it turns the faucet off.
Yeah, so he was incredible. He had 3 hits, 2 of them were home runs, 3-run homer and a solo homer. Scored, of course, those 2 runs on those home runs. The 3-run homer came in the 3rd inning, just got it over the left field fence at Oracle Park. And then he hit a solo shot later on in the 6th. The Yankees scored 3 runs in both the 3rd and the 6th. Those are their 6 runs. They win 6-2. Giants did not get much going offensively against Marcus Stroman. And Evan, as we welcome everybody in here to Saturdays on the Game on 95.7 The Game. We're with you until noon today. It's Grandi and Giddings with you. Shout out to New York Ken, although not New York Yankee Ken behind the glass.
Jersey Ken.
Yeah, Jersey Ken. Well,
Bing bong.
there you go. Bing bong. Mets fan Ken. He can stay with it. Not a Yankee fan, a Mets fan. So he's good here on this Yankees and Giants conversation. As we welcome everybody in, it's hard, Evan, to not watch what Aaron Judge did last night. And, ask yourself, what if? What if the Giants did manage to get him to sign a contract with the San Francisco Giants now, nearly 18 months ago, when he was going through his free agency and the offseason leading into the 2023 season, when the Giants offered him that same 9-year, $360 million contract that the Yankees eventually offered him. The running theory is Aaron Judge potentially was just using the Giants to get that kind of money from the Yankees. If that was the plan, well, it worked perfectly. But watching the Giants struggle offensively, watching them struggle to hit home runs at Oracle Park, Evan, all year, and then watch Aaron Judge come into the ballpark that he called, like his home as a kid, and watch him hit 2, 1 to dead center and 1 to left field, where the Giants have struggled mightily to hit some balls over the fence. It's difficult for me as a Giants fan to not ask myself, what if? Imagine this dude in the orange and black. This team would have an entirely different feeling.
Well, especially after you hear him after the game say it was close. When they asked him about that 2022 free agency, how close was it? Well, it was close. And we spoke to a couple people from New York yesterday. It feels like people from what we've seen on Twitter during that time and then beyond still feel like there was hesitation on the New York side of things. Aaron Boone also discussed it pregame yesterday. Like, it was a stressful 24, 36, 48 hours in New York when they thought that Judge might be leaving. Now, of course, there's the infamous tweet and the arson judge and all the rest from John Heyman, which I think added to some of the, kind of sullen feeling after he eventually decided to go back to the Bronx. I always felt like he was destined for New York. He was going to stay there. But the more that I've had time to reconsider it, it did feel like the Giants were right there. And I know that the Padres were a team that ended up, I think, the most money, but it felt like the Giants were a legitimate player for Aaron Judge. And it just, it was just running through my mind last night watching him hit. Like, that guy could be doing it in a Giants jersey. And I know a lot of people at the time were perhaps happy that they didn't, give an albatross deal to a guy that's on the wrong side of 30 and, a player that might not be able to be as productive on the tail end of his career as on the front. It doesn't matter. Like, those are the kinds of games that you pay $40 million a year for. Those are the kinds of at-bats that you want from your best player. And Aaron Judge is as captivating as any player in baseball, not because of his personality, but because of what he can do with a bat and what he did at Oracle Park last night.
Yeah, I mean, he had a really slow start to the season, was nowhere near his normal Aaron Judge self in April, but you look now at his season numbers, and he's near the top of the league in almost every single category. You mentioned his month of May, 14 home runs in May alone, 12 doubles, and 27 RBIs. 26 extra base hits are the most by any Yankees player in a month since Joe DiMaggio had 31 in July of 1937. It's like the last time you find a Yankee player who's had a more prolific slugging month than Aaron Judge in the month of May.
Wow, dude.
That is correct.
Joltin' Joe.
It is incredible. Incredible what he's been able to do. A slow start, and then just 4 weeks go by, and suddenly he's right where you would expect him to be. He's the first big leaguer to 20 home runs this season, had 18 entering last night, and then hit 2, both off of Jordan Hicks. And look, Jordan Hicks wasn't terrible. I mean, he said at post-game last night, you just got to tip your cap. He gives up 4 earned in 5 1/3. His defense did not help him out in the 6th inning, although he was a part of that as well. But there was a wild pitch or a pass ball, and then the throwing error back towards home plate, covering the plate. 2-run score on that one, in addition to the Judge solo homer. But if you're Jordan Hicks, you just made a couple of pitches and a hitter like Aaron Judge, Evan, you make those mistakes when he's this hot, more than likely he's going to make you pay, and it's as simple as that. He made the Giants pay, and now they go into today's game trying to even up this series. You got Logan Webb on the bump. We can talk a little bit more about that as it goes on, but if we rewind to the Giants offseason 2022 leading into 2023, and I want to open up the phone lines for everyone, all those Giants fans out there, 888-957-9570. What was it like watching Aaron Judge in a Yankee uniform hitting 2 home runs at Oracle Park last night? Give us a call if you were at Oracle Park, by the way. Really want to hear from you. What was the environment like? Did you partake in the boos? Did you boo Aaron Judge, and what was it like after you booed him and then he went deep? Evan, I know you talked about a couple of guys you had on with Steiny and Guru yesterday. Evan McPherson from WFAN, the flagship for the Yankees in New York. When talking about booing Aaron Judge, he said, hey, don't poke the bear. Don't poke the bear. And he turns around and hits a home run. He's got a smile on his face as he's rounding the bases, thinking back to his childhood memories. I was going to say a fun moment. Interesting moment at Oracle Park, watching Aaron Judge respond to those boos in a way that only a slugger can.
Well, I definitely participated in boos last night, but it wasn't at the ballpark. But I would say that tonight, you got to keep booing Aaron Judge. Like, you have to. If you're going to boo someone, you boo them every time they come to home plate. I don't care how many home runs Aaron Judge hits this weekend. You continue to boo Aaron Judge. And yes, Keith McPherson of WFAN, big Yankees fan, came on yesterday and said, don't poke the bear. And it was mainly about how good Aaron Judge has been in the month of May.
God,
it was about how ridiculous he's swinging the bat right now. And to me, it has nothing to do with the boos. It has to do with, dude, you might just have to not give him a cookie. You might just have to not put the ball on a silver platter for this guy who is swinging the hottest bat in baseball. If I'm at the park tonight, and I think I might be, I think we're both going to go.
Yeah.
Going to try to get out there tomorrow too. If I'm sitting in the bleachers, thank you, Kent, I'm booing Aaron Judge. I'm continuing to boo now. Aaron Judge. I am leaning all the way in on the boo birds. Welcome to San Francisco, and take your sorry ass and your $360 million with you.
Sorry ass.
Yeah.
I mean, his ass
that's what I'd be screaming from the bleachers.
His ass isn't that sorry right now. He's been awesome. He's now hitting 282 on the year, and that was after a very, very rough April. The thing is, if you boo a guy like that, and again, we want to hear from you guys, Giants fans. If you were at Oracle last night, if you're going tonight, it is a 7 o'clock start, not a 1 p.m. Saturday game, so make note of that. But You booing Aaron Judge again tonight? Did you boo him last night? And what was it like? How did Giants fans respond once he deposited not one but two balls over the fence at Oracle Park? Let us know, 888-957-9570. That's also the Xfinity mobile text line. You got to be careful, though, when you boo a guy like that.
Why?
Well, that's what Evan McPherson was talking about. Keith McPherson, sorry. Thinking of what, the Bengals kicker?
Yeah.
Evan McPherson?
Oh, he's on Mount Evermore. Don't worry. Yeah.
Keith McPherson of WFAN, big Yankee fan, on with you guys yesterday. Don't poke the bear. When a guy is that hot and it's a superstar and he's got that, I don't know, connection to your team and you boo him, you're almost asking for a little bit of embarrassment, because if he goes deep, you're kind of like, uh-oh. I messed up here.
They booed Bryce Harper the entire Phillies series, and he didn't have a hit until Game 3. I think it was like his third at bat. It is as a fan's job, it is your job to boo the opposing best player. It is the opposing best player's job
to shut you up.
So I want to hear all 40,000, which I expect for a capacity crowd on a Saturday night in San Francisco at Oracle Park. I want to hear the boo birds out again. And I want to see if Aaron Judge can back up his performance against the number one starter against the Giants. These are the moments that make you want to watch baseball, that make you love watching baseball, because it's not always going to happen where you got all these storylines and these big players and you're one against their one, and you got everything invested emotionally into these singular moments. It doesn't happen all the time. And that's why Giants fans are showing up at Oracle Park tonight. Let me hear you. I want to hear you boo. Boo the hell out of this man.
40,000.
He spurned you.
40,000. How many do you think will be Yankee fans? 10 or 15,000?
Maybe a little bit less. I don't feel like I heard a lot of Yankees fans last night.
I don't know. How many? Let's see. What was the attendance last night?
It was probably pretty high.
I was
35,000 last night.
I heard some Yankee fans last night when he was rounding the bases.
When they were up 6-2?
Yeah.
Well, he's the kind of player, and I think the same thing goes for Shohei, where a player of that caliber hits a homer, and whether or not you're a fan of that team or not, you all kind of like, like there is kind of that.
Let's go Yankees chant that the Giants fans were like, we're not having any part of this.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, especially the second one. I mean, the first one was a linear, but the second one was just a no doubt blast to straightaway center. Talk about a guy that, for all the talk about the ballpark being a big reason why sluggers don't want to come here and you can't court a big name position player. Aaron Judge makes that park look pretty small. Well, he makes any park look small, but specifically Oracle.
Yeah, and he was talking about Oracle. I can play it on my side here, Ken. Just make sure my pot's up on the board. Aaron Judge was talking about it last night. You dream about moments like this when you're a kid growing up. Here's Aaron Judge talking about homering twice at Oracle Park.
Yeah, you dream about it in the backyard, playing around a little bit and Cruz and Kipe, I've heard them for years call the games and, hear all the homers that Barry hit here. So it's pretty cool. So I was happy we could come away with one.
Pretty cool. More from Aaron Judge talking about memories at Oracle.
Yeah, I think it was rounding the bases. I kind of looked out to left field and, being on those bleachers a couple times and just brought back some memories. But it's a special place. Grew up a Giants fan. Love coming to games out here. So pretty cool being on the opposite side, being on the field now.
Man, shut the hell up. Grew up a Giants fan.
Oh, I did.
I know. I don't want to hear it. All right?
He had 2 suites worth of family members at the game.
I don't want to hear it, Aaron. Stuff it. Come on. God, watching him hit those home runs last night is just one of the most painful experiences that a Giants fan can have, because you were 18 months ago. You got the tweet that you'd been waiting for, kinda. Arson Judge to the Giants. And then he gets ripped away from you. And what does he do? Opening day of last year against Logan Webb in the Bronx, goes deep in his first at-bat. I thought that was painful enough. Then he returns to Oracle Park. Actually, not returns. His first game at Oracle Park, gets a hit in his first at-bat, although you could have called it an error. Then goes deep, 3-run ding-dong, and then another solo homer to dead central. I am done with the Aaron Judge pain. Nothing can hurt me anymore. Aaron, I don't care that you were a Giants fan. I don't want to hear it from you anymore. I get it. You grew up in Linden, wherever the hell that is. I'm happy that you got your money. I'm happy you're still a Yankee, but I'm done with the Giants fan stuff. You can shove it, Aaron.
Yeah, I mean, I heard zero personality in that quote whatsoever because he speaks with his bat. But I would say that the juxtaposition between the, I guess, big bat free agent that was Aaron Judge and then now the big bat free agent that the Giants got this offseason, it sucks watching one versus the other because, I don't know. I mean, Jorge Soler probably is about 2 inches shorter than Judge. He's probably got 20 pounds on him, Aaron does. But watching Jorge Soler's average dip below 200 as Aaron Judge hits not one, but 2 home runs and essentially wins the game by himself to cap what has been a historic and spectacular month of May, that hurts because you have thrown money at particular players to try and bring some sort of juice, some sort of power into this building, and that specific player or these set of players have not been able to do it. And the amount of home runs that the Giants have hit this year is a little alarming to me, especially when you're looking at the other side, and this guy is going to hit maybe, a couple more this weekend. The Yankees might, and actually, in my opinion, they are the best team in baseball. And Aaron Judge is a massive reason why, because he is at the forefront right now of an offense that has probably the 2 best position players in the American League, Juan Soto and Aaron Judge. However, the Giants, meanwhile, their offense is beginning to come back to earth a little bit. And it did around the time that Lamont Wade Jr. got hurt, begin to trickle off. But this is what happens when you run into big boys. You're going to have a couple of these games. So as much as it sucked to see Aaron Judge go yard twice last night, him talk about his fandom, him doing it in front of his home crowd, him doing it in front of his family, and doing it to Giants fans after essentially spitting in their face 2 off seasons ago, you come back and you win today, and you continue to boo the hell out of them. That's just what you do.
Oh, I think there's also some... I mean, we talk about Aaron Judge spurning the Giants and whatever. He's got to do whatever he wants to do, and I'm not holding that against him. I hate him talking about how he's a Giants fan. And now if he really cared about that stuff, he could have come here. But if you're the Giants and you're a year and a half ago, maybe you don't have as much information about it as you do now, but you referenced, I think, something that Greg Johnson, Giants chairman, said earlier this week to Tim Kawakami of the TK show, essentially using the ballpark, a pitcher's ballpark, as one of the main reasons why a number of prolific power hitters have turned down signing with the Giants. Bryce Harper, you could even go maybe even further, and Giancarlo Stanton before that, but Harper and Judge and Ohtani, Greg Johnson, chairman of the Giants, views the ballpark as a factor there. So if you have that, kind of in the back of your mind, Evan, and you're trying to attract one of the most prolific sluggers in this era of baseball, you can't just offer what everybody else is offering. The Giants offered 9 years, $360 million, and to their credit, they offered that before the Yankees did. Then the John Heyman Arson Judge tweet came down, and that probably frightened the Yankees enough that they said, all right, we're going to offer the same, and for Aaron Judge, that was enough. And I think that probably means that he was just waiting for that, and he was always going to go back to New York, assuming they got close to the Giants' offer. The Padres came in at the last second and offered more total money. They offered $400 million, but more years as well. So I think it was less average per year from the San Diego Padres. But if you're the Giants and you are operating from a position, Evan, of where you feel like a power hitter is already has a negative disposition towards playing here, you have to make an offer that either the player just cannot refuse, or if they refuse, it's not because of the money. It's because of some other situation. You offered the kind of contract that a different team offered as well. 2 other teams offered as well, and you're kind of left in a limbo where, why did he not come here? We think it's the ballpark. Maybe he didn't want to ever be here. We don't know. If you offered, say, 10 years, $450 million instead of $360, and he turns you down, okay, at that point you say, all right, he just didn't want to be here. Didn't like the ballpark, loves New York, loves the Yankees. But the Giants have for years now kind of operated in this space where they think they're on a level playing field as these other big boys in MLB. And whether it's the ballpark, whether it's whatever reason, they're simply not when it comes to power hitters. You have to offer more than everybody else, and until you do that, and until they say no, we don't exactly know why power hitters don't want to come here.
Yeah, I think there's a couple things there. Number one, I don't think money was ever going to be the reason that they got it done with Judge. It was going to be his choice. And I also don't believe that the fandom thing matters whatsoever. Like, there are players on teams on the Giants that I know for a fact that did not grow up Giants fans. There are players on other teams that I know for a fact did not grow up fans of those teams. It has nothing to do with fandom. It has nothing to do with allegiance, as much as we love to make that a storyline. It does have to do with cold, hard cash, but when the difference is a couple of $1 million and you can choose to be comfortable in your city, you can choose to be, a hitter that's going to have better numbers in certain spots. Like, Aaron Judge is a player that can hit a ball out of any ballpark, but a primary power alley for him is right center. And where's the easiest place to hit a home run at Yankee Stadium? Right center. Where's the most difficult place to hit a home run in San Francisco? Right center. Maybe that has something to do with it. I'm not sure. But I am with you that overpaying is something the Giants are going to have to do, because take, like the housing market, for example. There are more first-time buyers now than ever. That means that people that are buying a second home, well, it's going to be a little more difficult. You're going to have to offer up more because there's more competition. These guys and these first-time home buyers are spending massive amounts of money more above market value. And so while you don't think it's fair, while you don't think you might be paying a proper price for your home, you're going to have to do it because the market dictates it. And right now, the market is dictating that the San Francisco Giants will not be players for big-name position players unless they overpay. And that means this offseason, if they want to acquire someone like Juan Soto, they're going to have to pay an absorbent amount of money. It's why last offseason, when I threw out $750 million for Ohtani, I feel like some people might have thought I was crazy, but I just took the best position player and the best pitcher and combined their salaries, 10 years, 75 per year, $750 million. That's what you give him. And he ended up getting 10 for 700. He may not have chosen the Giants in the first place, but that's kind of the math that you're forced into. It might not be, a economic or, on paper intelligent investment, but if you do make those kind of investments, or if you have a chance to, you might end up with a player like Aaron Judge that can hold the palm of your ballpark in your city in his hands in another team's uniform.
Yeah, and there's a very real chance that, 7 years from now, when this Aaron Judge contract is about to expire, he's hitting like 212 or maybe can barely stay healthy. Like, that's a reality. And no one is saying that you're going to look back at the end of the contract and think he was worth every single penny at that last year of the contract. Like, that's the way these things work. The Los Angeles Angels, very famous for giving Albert Pujols a gigantic and long contract, and at the end of that contract, he was dealing with plantar fasciitis for years, and he could barely get on the field, and of course, that didn't really work out for the Angels because they never really won with him, and they had Mike Trout with him, and it never quite worked out. Like, that's the reality of these kind of contracts for these kinds of hitters, and you're right, Judge is not the spring chicken anymore. Juan Soto's a little bit of a different story because while he has still been in the league for a very long time, he is still in the prime of his career and has a number of really good years left. But the bottom line for the Giants is, if you want a player of that caliber, and don't kid yourself, they desperately do. They do. They would kill to have a player of that caliber. But the reality is, and I think this reality is finally hitting them, the reality is, if you legitimately want to get one of those players on your team, you are at a little bit of a disadvantage. And I think the reason is relatively simple. I think it's the ballpark. There was all the talk this past offseason about, the city of San Francisco, the doom loop. No one wants to come here because of all of that. I'm not so sure that's what this is all about. I think it's the ballpark. If you're Aaron Judge, if you're Shohei Ohtani, if you're Bryce Harper, you're going to go where you can put up the best numbers. And as of right now, that is not Oracle Park. You had the weird year in 2021 when you were hitting home runs left and right, and Buster Posey was going out to right field, as odd as that is. That happened randomly. But now it's kind of playing back to where it has the vast majority of its 25 years of existence now. The reality for the Giants is, when you're going after a big power hitter, right-handed or left-handed, you're at a disadvantage, which means you have to offer more than everybody else. And if you do ultimately sign a guy like that, you might be dealing with headlines saying Giants overpay for blank. You're going to have to live with that if you want that guy. You don't have to get that guy. the Giants have proven they have won without that kind of hitter before. But if you do want that guy, which they do, you're going to have to overpay. It's as simple as that.
Well, I think it's less about the ballpark for me than it is about just the state of the franchise. And I know coming off of 22, they were closer to their 100 and plus win season. But still, I don't know how much faith there was league-wide in the direction of the Giants. There might be more league-wide faith in the direction of the Giants now just because of their younger players. So, yes, your numbers are inevitably going to dip. I mean, look at, Juan Soto. The fact that he's hitting 311 right now in New York compared to 250 over his first year and a half in San Diego is not a coincidence. Like, he's still a damn good hitter, but he's not going to hit as well in San Diego as he is probably going to hit in New York. The fact that he hit 35 home runs last year as a Padre is just as impressive as anything else. So the ballpark does play somewhat of a factor, but I think it has to do with a larger place that the Giants are in, which is people don't know really what they're doing or what they've been doing for the last, say, 6 years in which they made the postseason once. I think players want to win, they want to be compensated, and they want to be comfortable. And right now, the Giants can only offer one of those three things. If you're looking at comfort, well, the city is kind of a comfortable place to be, but financially, it's burdening. If you look at, right now, compensation, that's the only thing they can offer. That's the only thing they can do is overpay. And then the third part of it, as far as the productivity on the field, or the competition, so to speak, is right now up in the air. They're a 500 baseball team. Can they move north of 500? I believe so. But in my opinion, I can expand further on the other side. I think it has to do with where the Giants are at, not necessarily where